As things are getting more expensive, the one thing that we can rely on with club interactions is the connection to the community. And with everyone on social media at the moment, it's just like, people are just getting they're full of dopamine by getting likes on posts. Whereas, if you go out and spend a Saturday night at a rugby club and you talk to the people from the different teams and you talk to the old boys from the club and you catch up with your own players. That's the beauty of club sport, in my opinion.
And very much so, because that's the thing I've enjoyed. I grew up in a rugby club. I grew up in the Clutha Rugby Club. You would have grown up in a club in Whangarei.
Absolutely, mate.
You're recording this, ain't you? Yeah, he's already started, so that's cool.
Bloody good.
and so, what was your club up in?
Well, you see, there's a bit of drama about this one. So, my whole family, Uncle Bears and his two sons, Sam and Tom, who are the two oldest grandkids out of the family, they led the charge. So they went to Old Boys Marist initially. Yeah. I being, the second youngest grandchild, I just followed through in the footsteps. Yeah. And then they went to high school before me, Whangarei Boys High, shout out. And what ended up happening was once they popped out the other side of high school, they went over to Carmo, which are the sworn enemies of Old Boys.
Carmo?
Yeah.
That's up the road, isn't it?
Yeah, old Ian Carmo Jones. Yeah, that side of town. So then it was okay for me because I went Old Boys, then Whangarei Boys High, and then I came straight to Dunedin, so I didn't have to worry. But 2 years ago, my partner and I, who's a Dunedin girl, we headed home to hang out with Grandma, and for that year I went and played footy again, and that was right around the stage where I was thinking about hanging up the boots and just focusing on being a trainer. Yeah. But then I just went up for shits and giggles, went over to Carmo because my grandmother and my eldest uncle said, "You are not playing for Old Boys, you're playing for Carmo." And it went against every fibre of my being. But I ended up going there, man, and once again, just coming back to that whole club yarn. Yep. It doesn't matter what club you're in, we all have these, everyone describes certain clubs in a specific way, but the reality is they're all just sub-communities of the community. Yeah. So, whether you're down here and you're out with Southern, the big rough and tumble fellas, or you're up at Zingers, similar there, or, the Tyree, the farm boys, the fast movers. Yeah. It doesn't really change what club you go to. Yes, at AU, we've had the best feeds in the competition for the last, wee while. Yeah. But I like to think that we all offer something slightly different, but there are a lot of similarities between us.
Yeah, so we've already started chatting because Staples actually turned the bloody mics on and turned everything on us. And so I'd like to welcome JT to the show. He's a player at AU and he's injured. You're injured at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm only half as handy as I once was. But it's not too long until I can get back in the gym and start preparing my shoulders for some Prem footy, probably the second half of the season. Yeah,
so before we start into chatting with JT and talking about AU and the general rugby here in Dunedin, earlier today I had a chat with Wheels, so we'll just cut over to Wheels. He's got a rundown of last weekend's results. Hey, welcome to the show, Sideline with AC, Wheels, and I see you've been watching a few of the games from overseas there. So what are your thoughts on the games in the weekend, GI versus Kike?
Intensity or scoreline than what the official result reflects, 62 points to 15, and really impressed with the quality of play that Green Island put out on the field on Saturday. Obviously they were bolstered by the likes of Ollie Haig and Jake Tahiwi, a couple of Highlanders to call upon, but I think just the real synergy that they're playing with, and from a defensive standpoint, obviously Marty Banks is their defensive coach, and that they were real violent up front, and I think the forwards just laid a really good platform for their backs to score some really good tries. But in particular that try from Dan Smart, the number 9, was a great showcase of, I guess, team cohesion and being in the right place at the right time. So Kaikai just a little bit off the 8 ball, and Yeah, they look like they've got quite a young Premier squad this year, but Kaikoura are a good club and they'll bounce back.
Yeah, for sure, Wills. That's pretty on the spot because I enjoyed going out there and watching that game with them. And they at the beginning of the season, I had a wee chat to Heath after the game, and as he said, they're just taking one game at a time and not looking at defending a title. They're just one game at a time. So that's pretty cool
Yeah.
with those guys. And the Eels did pretty well on the weekend, 69-7 against a struggling Alhambra Union side. So
Mm.
what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, again, Tyree obviously had the likes of a number of Highlanders to call upon. I know they had Jacob Ratamatavuki Nepkins, and then they had Cam Miller at 10, and the Funga brothers out there as well. So they look to have a really powerful side this year. And Peter Johnson Park is a pretty tough task for any team to come and play. And Alhambra Union in their first couple of games have obviously. I think started games relatively well. They started really well last week against Zingery Richmond and then sort of just, had about a 15, 20-minute burst and then just took their foot off the throttle and a little bit against Tyree as well. They were in there for a bit, but then Tyree were just too big and too strong. And,
Yeah,
I know they had to allow Whakatava to try and give them a bit of spark, but again, you can't rely on one individual to step up. And yeah, for Alhambra Union as well, I think again another young side and potentially not quite the depth as some of the other teams this year in the competition. So it could be a bit of a long season for them. But I know that their club overall has a
yeah,
good cult numbering this year, which is pleasing to see. And
yeah,
you've got to use that as a bit of a boost for the years to come.
yeah. Because I've got JT coming in tonight, and we're going to be chatting about Alhambra, so that'll be
Yeah.
pretty cool to get his thoughts on it as well. And University, they went up,
But
didn't
yeah, I
they?
mean, Tyree
You go for it.
saying OC, sorry, Tyree, with regards to their gameplay, Tyree are the teams that I really like. They're just that hard working, gritty team, and they'll go for 80 minutes no matter who they're playing. So I think Tyree are going to be there or thereabouts in every game this season. I think we'll see them in playoffs contention at the end of the year without a doubt.
Yeah, I believe so too, because you started the season off strong. From the disappointment from last year, and they've rebuilt. They've bought, as you said the other week, they've brought back some older players, got some older heads around it, which is definitely going to help them.
Yeah,
So that see how they go through the season. And so we had University go up to Zingaree. Bit of a
yeah,
blowout there. Like pretty good to see University get up, but it seemed like Zingaree are a wee bit step behind.
yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting result for me. I expected that one to be a lot closer, and I watched the rugby chat between the university coach and Southern's coach after Southern had got the VG Cavanna, and he said that they were just a little bit, I guess, sloppy with a lot of their handling errors, and it was kind of like a bit of a preseason game for varsity, that round one game. So, they put a lot of things right this week, and again, they scored some really nice team tries, and it looks like they've got some really lots of new faces across the paddock, which is great, and they've recruited really hard in the off season to bring some new talent to the club. And look, the students are always going to be there or thereabouts as well. But I think the Muliaina brothers are a really good couple of assets for them. And I don't know too much about them, but was really
Yep.
impressed with the way they played on Saturday. And look, Zingaree are a big team, and I expect them to bounce back pretty heavily this week. I know they've got Harbour, which will be I guess a really good upfront battle between those two clubs. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And we're talking about Harbour. They had the win over Southern, our old club. They were like, I think 19 points up with about 20, in 20 minutes. Southern were slow starting and they pegged it back, took the lead with not long to go. But to see Harbour actually go for the win was,
mm,
it was great for them. And I managed to talk to Pete and Craig after the game, and the smiles on their faces were huge. And I just had to congratulate them and had a wee port with them. And yeah, because they're mates, you know what I mean? They're still
kind of
mates. Yeah.
absolutely, like Harbour probably historically in the past few years are probably known to be like a 60 to 60.
Jesus.
65-minute team and a lot of confidence. And, again, looking at their team list, there was a number of names on there that I didn't even recognise, which shows that the club's put a lot of effort into their off-season recruitment. And yeah, I mean, for Southern, to bounce back, I think, 19 or 21 points down and retake the lead will give them, a lot of confidence moving forward. And I know they have the bye this week, but, Harry Taylor will round the troops up and give them a bit of a kick up the arse, and they'll be good to go for round 4.
Yeah, no, they definitely will. So I'll probably talk with JT about the games coming up tonight because I've got him coming in. So what was your try of the week for you?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier. I think that try that Green Island scored, Dan Smart, the number 9, just a really, I guess, aesthetically pleasing try to watch when you've got your whole team just with some remarkable offloads and, just being in, as I said, in the right place at the right time. And I think it was an 80-metre effort in the end and a little break by their fullback. I think Sam McVire was superb, and he's been really promising in the first couple of games of the season. So, yeah, that was probably my try of the round. And I think Harbour scored a great one through Taniela Filamone, who's a ex-MLR player over here, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think early on in the season to see, tries like that being scored super, pleasing for the brand of club rugby in Dunedin. And, yeah, I love the content that you guys put out with the tries and the highlights, and it's cool for everyone around the country to see it.
Yeah, and I'm just getting on the sideline with the people and chatting with them, and I'd just like to thank GI for welcoming me out there and chatting to a lot of the guys on the sideline. It was pretty cool, doing that. So, yeah. Hey, before we move on, and I'll let you go because I know you're stuffed with time. So, how the Free Jacks going?
Yeah, we're doing well. I think comparatively to last year, we're probably a little bit slow. We had a big win against Miami in the weekend, 43 points to 6. I think we're 4-3 to start the season, 4 wins, 3 losses. We've probably faced a bit more adversity in the first half of the season compared to what we did last year, which I think is actually a really good thing for the club. But yeah, we've got a new head coach come back in, Ryan Martin. We've got a new forwards coach. We've got a new S&C. So, we've also got 4 of players that moved on at the end of last season. So I think having change is always going to take a while to, recycle into a consistent brand of rugby. So I think, I think in the next couple of weeks, things will really start to flourish even more.
Oh, yeah. Well, cheers for that, Wills. And we'll let you go and we'll catch up with you next week with your try of the week. And we'll catch up with some more of that stuff over in the US as well.
Sounds good, mate. Thanks, AC. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Wheels. Catch you, mate. Hope you enjoyed that chat with Wheels. It was my first time doing a Zoom meeting, and the connection wasn't the greatest, so sorry about that. And sorry to Wheels because he was actually talking away and it cut out of him a few times. So, hey, that's what you get in the big games, isn't it?
Mate, big jobs.
Big jobs.
Big jobs.
But it was really cool to hear what he had to say and his favourite tries. And so that's one of the cool things that I've got him on board with. He's over in the States working over there with the Free Jacks.
Wow.
And so, it's also one of those things we're talking about players, availability of players.
Yeah.
And one of those things he was talking about, you can't get the professional ones because the season starts the same time as we do.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward.
So he said, we've got to tap into the collegiate if we want those American players to come over here. And what I was talking about before with trying to make Dunedin Premier Rugby the place to come in New Zealand. More and through the world, if you can get these international players over here, come play AU, Southern, Tyree, wherever, it just makes our rugby better, and it gets it out there for everyone to come and play for us.
Yep.
So you were named captain of the side for AU this year?
Oh no, I was not named.
Well, you're not.
No,
was that a rumour? Was that what you made it up? Didn't you?
No, I don't. The awkward thing is I'm not sure whether or not I was lined up for the position. I mean, I was there. I've been at the club for the longest out of anyone in the team.
Yeah.
The thing with me, mate, is I'm a great club man. I'm a facilitator, but my rugby IQ, there's smarter people out there on the field.
Yeah.
And although I had a relatively intensive role over the summer, just conversing with the management about ideas, throwing ideas around. Was working with a few of the players to get some programs up and running. I was not sure whether or not I was going to be named.
You're still part of that leadership group, which is part of it, isn't it?
100%. I mean, I'm not sure whether the decision was based on the fact that, you know, we have these wonderful young thodes in the team that have just like rugby IQ off the charts.
Yeah.
I was also injured for a couple of weeks before the team was named.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure whether my injury sort of brought in the not making the cut as captain. Mm-hmm. But to be completely honest, mate, like with my other roles in the club, like social committee and you know, I've been coaching the P2s for the last few weeks since the injury. Yeah. I was concerned about if I was going to be picked as captain, how good a job I was going to do. Yeah. And mate, like I've been looking up to the brother Ty Palacio since I got to the club in 2014, and you know, I feel for Oliver Thode this year because man, those are some huge shoes to fill. Yeah. But I'm really proud about how the new leadership team for this year. You know, and although Ollie Thode is captain, there are other people in the leadership team like Anzac, Benji, Mackenzie Hunter, just to name a few. Mm-hmm. And I feel like our approach to the topics that we're discussing is really level-headed. Yeah. And it's nice. It's not just one person who has a crap load of experience like Ty that's needing to run the whole ship himself. Yeah. You know, it feels a lot more now like we've got this little leadership council where we... Yeah. You know, meet after the odd training, whether it's once a week or once a fortnight, when we have some things to discuss. And we really speak to each other wanting to understand more about what each other think, which is where we need to start when we're trying to shape the structure of the Prems team. Yeah,
because you've got a new coaching staff, so Ken, and I know the talks with you've known Ken since...
Mate.
Was it high school?
Ken's my boy. Yeah. Well, I actually, it could have even been earlier than high school because when I was at Old Boys up in Whangarei, I played with, you know, Harley Adaya, Jesse James Teepany. There are a number of other boys. I'm not sure how many of them ended up coming down to Dunedin, but I think those are the notable ones that ended up coming down. Yeah. I know Noah Coops was further up north, so I didn't actually play club rugby with him. But, Ken and Ron Adaya, so, Ken, Jesse's dad, and Ron, Harley's dad, they were the coaches in the junior years. Yeah. And then once we got to high school, because I'd been playing with those boys... because I was a bit of a tubby lad. Well, you know, I'm still, you know, got a bit of insulation on me for winter. If you know what I mean. But once I got to high school, I was a year behind those boys, but because I was a chunky monkey, I ended up, you know, playing that grade with them. Yeah. And I believe it was my year 12 year where Ken came into the coaching staff for the first 15. And that was when Harley and Jesse were in the first 15.
Because I rate Ken, because I had a bit to do with Ken at Southern, because he was over there coaching Prem Colts, I believe, you know, and along with William, and they were part of that group, and so to see him now coaching with you guys, I was really chuffed to see that and see that his career's moving on, and I know he's a hard man. And I know he likes things just so, and I think that's what the club needs. You guys need it.
I totally agree, mate. But like, he has that persona of being a tough man. Like, this is how it is. Yes, but when you dig under it a little bit more, he really does care. Yeah. And like, we've had a number of moments, even since the start of last year, where we've really seen him pull back a bit on the whole, like, this is how we do things. And he's opened up and, I've got so much time for him just because I've seen him in so many different situations. Before he actually came into the team, he came in as a guest speaker at one of our pre-season Prems camps, and he talked about mental skills and leadership. And, you've got to be in a completely different sort of frame of mind when you're speaking about those things. Because you're trying to talk about the connection between the team and how to support each other. So, yes, he has this persona, where he's just about business. But I feel like because of the mental skills and, he worked with the A Academy up north. He has that mindset of support.
Because AU, they're a lovely club. They've got the women's space is doing really, really well.
Mate,
the Colts are doing all right. You've got a lot of teams in the comps, and AU has struggled over the years in the Premier space for whatever reason. I think Ken is your best fit, and to bring that mental toughness that you need to get that winning culture.
I agree.
Because I'm not trying to be horrible or nothing, but it takes a while to get that winning culture, and it takes that consistency of selection. I always bang on about consistency.
100%.
And for a guy looking from the outside in, you tend to roll over players. Players come and go because you are up in varsity land. So what are the things you're looking at fixing that? Because getting more local players to play for AU?
As I mentioned before, the old footage started rolling. There are a number of challenges that we face at AU, but I feel like the biggest one is the player turnover or the lack of consistency from our premier personnel. Yes, a lot of that is due to the amount of students that we have, but as I mentioned, over the last few years, I've been personally trying to focus on attracting working lads who are not here because of university, so that we can have a more consistent player base in the team. Because I feel like once we have that consistency, we'll be able to start working on the cohort as a group, and we'll be able to start crafting the group.
You get to build. You get to build around a group of guys. And then you get one or two that come in. I know personally with Southern, they've got a core group of guys, and they've been there for a number of years. And that's why they're pretty consistent.
100%.
100%. And so like university, they struggle with that as well. And it's good to see Steve go over there, a local lad, propping up for those guys.
100%.
And he's doing well.
He's doing great.
And that's where I think AU need to go and fill into that space, but because you've got such a great culture over there, you go over there, you're always welcome into that club. And there's always smiley faces. Old Wheels is there, and all those guys are there. Have a chat to them; they're great. And for this competition to thrive, we need all the teams being at that level. And we use actually, are they going? Which team's going to win this week? Like this week, you've got Dunedin and Kike playing.
Wow. And
so they're two teams that have just struggled at the beginning of the season. Their depths and that and stuff are struggling. So it's going to be a great game. I'm not sure who to pick out of those two teams because, Kike went up against a GI last weekend and got a bit of a throttling. Dunedin, didn't compete too well against GI as well. So I think those two sides are looking forward to this round. Because then I think they're about the same level. So I can't pick between them.
Yeah, but that's like the beauty of rugby, isn't it? Like this year's Super Rugby's a classic example. Mate, you never know who's going to win. And that's why people watch the game. And you're right. Like as soon as we can lift our standard to be able to compete with the other teams, that's where the enjoyment and the reaping of the rewards will end up starting to come. Because in all reality, we're not expecting to shoot up into the top four. All that we want to see is improvement and to be competitive. and playing footy for as long as possible at the highest quality. Whereas we've had sort of pockets of 10, 15 minutes even over the last 2 weeks where we've been playing well enough to compete.
Yep.
But again, once our personnel switch out, once we rotate on a couple subs, because the boys that are being thrown on, some of them is their first year playing footy in a wee while.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a depth thing.
Yeah.
Because you competed against Tyree.
Yeah. I mean, we did compete, but once again, like, we're not executing. We're doing all this great work, and then all it takes, mate, is one person to not follow the maps that the coaches have laid out for us in terms of whatever general play structure we're running, and then that whole opportunity's gone.
Yes.
You know, if we don't have our fullback popping over to the far blind side after we've run from right to left and we've sucked all their players in and there's no defender on the blind, if our 15 doesn't end up getting around the corner, then there can't be a tip ball thrown and we can't actually score the points. So,
it's there's a cool thing. Like listening to you, you can see all those points, and I think as a group, you guys, you know, as you said, you sit down and chat about these things. Yeah. In training, it'll ingrain, and the more you know. So, for me, for this season, I'm going to see if that progresses for you guys.
Cool, mate.
And then to see how you guys get on. You know, So that's going to be the cool thing, because I really do want to see AU start stepping up. You know, and competing.
Yeah.
Because I remember you guys did. I remember a couple of years ago, I think. You know, you played Southern and you tipped us over, and I looked at you and you just had a big grin on your face.
Yeah,
and
what was that? Was that 33-30 or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
That's a bit sad when I can remember the scores.
And then, like that, and that's the cool thing. And like in the weekend, you know, Southern went down to Harbour, and so I come around the corner and I seen Craig and Peter, and they had the biggest grins on their face. I said a few words I shouldn't have said, but you know, like gave them a big hug. Yeah, and because they're my mates, and it's happy to see them succeed too. You know, I wish we'd won, but hey, it was a really great fight to see. You know, Southern down 19 or 21-0 or something at one stage. I was over at GI at the time, and they were all commiserating for me. And then to get back, Southern got the lead, but to lose it in the last few minutes shows great heart in the competition.
Yeah,
and to see Harbour get a kick on a start like that, it'd be real interesting to see how they carry on this year.
Yeah, mate, I'm just excited to, you know, get the old start of the season wobbles out of the way and, you know, establish the starting lineup and just really invest in the squad that we have in terms of development. I think it's always tough at the start of each season because it's trying to figure out, okay, we have this much time per week. Yeah. How are we going to best spend the, 4 hours in total at training or whatever? To maximise the performance of areas that didn't work for us the week before. Yeah. And, you know, I feel for the coaches like Ken and Jody, especially the weather we've been having lately. Yeah. Man, how shit has it been? Like, we've been up at Opaho and, there've been at least 2, maybe even 3 Tuesday trainings that have pretty much just been rained off. Oh, yeah. But yeah, there's challenges everywhere. I think we just need to stay headstrong and not get caught up in that being content with whatever. Yeah. And one thing that the leadership team have done just recently is go through and the goals for the collective team and then the forwards and backs. They've been produced. So the leadership team essentially ran the workshop and the players came up with the goals. Yeah. And we had to have these discussions, and we needed something that was relatively objective, something that we can draw on to, you know, let us know that we're on track even if results don't go our way.
Yeah, so we're talking about, so this weekend you guys are at home and you're up against GI. We are. For me, I feel you need to compete at the set piece. Yeah. And if you can do that, like I think, you know, like I think you guys should focus on set piece, focus on your lineouts, compete. If you can get comparity in the forwards because they're a big forward pack. Yeah, mate. And, you know, and let those chances happen when you get an advantage. Yeah. You know, like as old Jamie Joseph used to say, you get an advantage, pull the trigger.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Go for it. That's the fun part of rugby, isn't it?
It's roll the dice.
Yeah, like old Macca. chip it over the top. You know, give it a go.
Yeah, give it a nudge.
Yeah, and that's a mindset.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree, mate. I think, look, I'm really confident that we'll be able to match up physically in terms of in the contest. The challenge, obviously, set piece. Set piece was like literally top of the list when we were talking about goals with the players. So everybody's on that waka. We're all good. But the physicality and the contact can only take us so far. We really need to, on top of our set piece, get our like internal forward pod structures sorted in terms of like running lines. Something that when we focus so much on the contest itself, what ends up happening is we just get it biffed to Benji or Pet, you know, our big bulldozers. And we're just like, go for it, bro. You know? And if you're only running one-off runners against quality sides like GI, mate, they're going to 2 or 3 man tackle you, which means that you won't put them on the back foot, which means that their defense doesn't need to shift back and reset, which means that they're always ready for the next phase. Whereas if we using our options, running our lines, keeping the defence guessing, means they won't be able to get as dominant tackles, means that they will have to start backpedaling. And if we can do 4 or 5 dominant contacts in a row, that's when we'll give the backs a platform to be able to perform.
So you're injured, so when are you looking like getting back in the saddle and pulling down a jersey and training?
Mate, as soon as possible. Honestly, I have just been so frustrated that like a hand fracture has taken this long. But the reality is, mate, I don't want to go back, injure myself, and then have to go back into like coaching P2s and stuff. As soon as I go back, I want to be straight in there. So I had hand specialist appointment. I think it was last Friday. We're booked in for a grip strength test next Wednesday. If my grip strength has doubled since the cast came off, then I can get back in the gym. And want to have at least sort of 3 weeks in the gym to prepare my shoulders for Prem footy.
So I see you work for Liquorland. So whereabouts in Liquorland are you?
I am store manager of Meanan's Liquorland. I moved back to Meanan's in September last year, but before that was managing the Andersons Bay Liquorland store down in the heart of South Dunedin. There's definitely like qualities of each business that I enjoy, but the reality is I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to the whole how everything's made, and that sort of falls on deaf ears at Andy Bay.
I had every intentions of bringing a beer in tonight, and then I absolutely forgot.
Well, that's just not terrible. Good enough, eh?
No, it's not. It's not good enough. So so if you're down in Means, get down and see them, say hello, give AU a huge support. They need it, and if you support the guys, get down and see them play. 2:45 kickoff.
Yeah, mate, we're on.
Yeah, you're on, and so go down and support AU. The GI faithful will be out there as well. They're a good group of guys.
Oh yeah.
The club will be rocking later, I'd say.
Yeah, the club will be rocking. It'll be a pretty loud sideline, I'd say. If we're going off the last few games we've had against GI. My 50th Blazer game was against them out there. And man, was there some banter in that game. So we ended up doing averagely okay up until halfway, and then it got away on us. So I'm really looking forward to having another go at the boys. But best of luck to GI this weekend. Just want to see some good footy.
Because you put a feed on for them, eh?
Oh, yeah, mate.
Oh, yeah. I've got to come in and get a feed.
We're all about the feeds, as you can see.
And, of course, we've got University playing Tyree up at out at University. Harbour down at Zingaree. Harbour's going, Zingaree down at Harbour. I'm going to go down and see the boys play down there. Awesome. So that's going to be my game of the week because Pete owes me some fish.
Good.
And Craig, you still owe me those bloody sausages. So go down and see those guys. But also Kike and Dunedin, that'll be a good game. So get over there and watch those guys as well. In the women's space, you've got Dunedin playing at 12:45 against BRC. So that's my Bowcleuth, the ladies. So they're going to come up, and then you got Zingaree against AU at 2:45. It's a weird time for them to be playing up there. So,
mate, watching those ladies function, mate, it's just unreal.
Yeah. So, and I do believe Waiteki Wahine have pulled out of the Div 1.
Oh, true.
And they've gone down to Div 2. Because I think they've been hammered a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
And I think they're probably better in that space. Because I had a chat to them when they were at Dunedin, and they were, the Dunedin girls were romping away. I think they won 123 0.
Oh, that's
so
rough, man.
that's rough.
And when you're trying to establish like a team in a new competition.
Yeah, and because when talking to them, they said they only had 4 players back from last year.
Yeah.
And they've got all these new players
Yeah.
and school players and international players coming over. So it was really hard for them to combine. And I felt for them in the weekend as well. So it's probably good for them. If you're watching the Waitaki ladies, get into it and just enjoy your footy because they're a great bunch of girls. So we're going to leave it there. And thank you for coming in, JT.
My pleasure, mate.
And we'll get you back in again. And I'm looking forward to a feed with you over in AU. We'll come over and see you.
I'll talk to my people and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I won't show that too hard.
Yeah, good man.
Cheers, man. Rightio.
Cheers,
Hey,
mate.
I'm AC, and I'll catch you on the sideline.